Hey everybody, David Guido here, personal development coach, trainer, speaker, author of the brand new book, What If? 30 Days to Powerful New Perspective. So I have a question for you. Are you ready for 2017? And another question, did you not want to hear that first question? We get to this time of year, it's December 2016, and we've got parties and we've got plans and we've got gifts to buy and family to prepare for and all of this stuff going on. And the last thing in the world we want to hear is, are you ready for 2017? If you started to make plans for 2017. But let me ask you another question. Have you ever gotten into a new year and you just get caught up? So much stuff happened in November and December for the holidays that after the first of the year, you get caught up in the things you need to get caught up on, and all of a sudden it's March of a new year, or even April, and you don't have your plans in place, and you're sitting back feeling even more overwhelmed because so much time has gone by. And if that sounds familiar to you, if you've been there before, if you're afraid that might happen going into 2017, I get it. I can't tell you how many years, most of my life, I would get to March and April and just stop and say, oh, what happened here? Where did the year's half over, or the year's a quarter over? I guess if I do my math right, the year is a quarter over, and I don't have any plans, and I haven't attacked anything that I wanted to do this year. In fact, I'm not even sure what I want to do now for this year, and I've been there. And what I learned, and kind of learned it the hard way, but what I've discovered is that going into January, it's best to have a plan. It's best to have a plan laid out. It's best for your mental health, for your stress, for your self-esteem, for your self-worth, for your excitement, for your passion, for your peace, for your joy, to know where you're going as the year begins makes the year so much better in so many ways. And so what we're going to talk about this week is, what do we do with these last 3 or 4 weeks of the year to get ourselves ready for 2017? And we're actually going to look at 4 moves that you can make and that you should make between now and the end of the year to set yourself up for the best year yet in 2017. So what are those moves? Those moves are, number 1, to review your 2016. Why do we want to go back? You always hear these look forward, look ahead, always be pushing forward. And that's true. But the things that have happened to you this year provide incredible lessons that you can take with you into the future. So that might be your victories. If you've had a lot of victories, if you've had a couple of victories, if you've had a few, whatever your victories are, what did you learn from those victories? What did you get from those victories that you can take forward to help make 2017 your best year yet? Where did you fall short? Things that didn't turn out the way you wanted, things you didn't get to, outcomes that were less than desirable. We all have those. I have victories in 2016. I also have things that I wish had turned out differently. I wish I had gotten to. I wish I had taken the time to address or to solve or to create. I'm in the creation business. We all have things that were great victories. We also have these things that didn't turn out the way we wanted. What can you learn from that? You need to sit down and you need to journal this. You need to write out, okay, here are the victories I had. Here are the things that worked really well. Here are the goals I achieved. Here are the goals I accomplished. Here are the things I came up short, the things I didn't even get to, or the goals that I set and I got halfway through. Why did I only get halfway through? Where was the breakdown, or where did I get distracted, or why didn't it work? What got in the way that I didn't anticipate? Whatever it is, everybody's going to be different. But the key is to sit down and write those things out and to say, okay, let's look at 2016 and let's look at what went well, and let's look at the things that maybe didn't go as well as I wanted. And what can I learn from those events, from those things, what lessons? And how do I apply those lessons to my 2017 to make it my best year yet? And that leads to number 2, which is to set goals for 2017. To sit down and write out your goals. Now, for those of you that are going to be attending my goal setting workshop in January, you obviously are not going to set your goals until you go through the workshop. And if you attend a goal setting workshop in January, or if you have time set aside in January for goal setting, that's fantastic. I would still recommend that you sit down and review your 2016 before the year is over. And if you have another goal setting system that you use, that's great. I think that the Zig Ziglar goal setting and achievement system process that I teach, I think is the greatest. And not because I teach it. I'm humbled and honored, and it's a privilege and a blessing to teach it. I think it's the best because it's the most comprehensive, and I would encourage you to look into, if you're in the Pittsburgh area and you want to attend my workshops in January, that's great. If you're in another part of the country and there's Ziglar trainers, there's 200 of us in the world, but typically there's somebody near you if you're in another area and you'd prefer to do something locally. Whether you use the Ziglar system or another system, you have to have goals in place, and you have to get that done by the end of January. So what can you do in December to set the stage for attending my workshop or attending somebody else's workshop or using another goal setting process? Well, you can sit down and start to look at, based on your review of 2016, what didn't I get to that I really want to? Or based on the things that happened, my victories from this year, or the direction that my life ended up going, where do I want my life to go in 2017? And what are some of the things I want to see happen? Now, with the Ziglar goal setting system, we're going to dig deep into your dreams and into what your goals really should be, and making sure you have a balanced life and all these really powerful things that are going to happen as a result of the workshop. But again, between now and the end of this year, you can look at what you accomplished or what you came up short on and start to use that as your barometer for where your barometer for, that was my Boston. If you know, I live in Pittsburgh. I was born and raised in Boston, and that was my Boston coming out there. Wow. You can use that as your barometer for 2017 to start getting some goals written down. And then whether you attend a workshop or go through a goal setting process before December 31st, or whether you wait until January, is either way is good. Just make sure that you follow a goal setting workshop or process or system by the end of January, and that you've already, by the end of December, laid out some of the parameters of what that's going to be. So you want to be thinking about your 2017 goals. All of that to say, you want to be thinking about your 2017 goals to make it your best year yet in 2017. Number 3 is start to develop your action plan for the first quarter. So one of the things on your action plan list might be, I'm going to attend the Zig Ziglar goal setting workshop with David or with another trainer in another area of the country, or I'm going to invest in a goal setting system or process. That is part of your first quarter action plan. You also want to start thinking about some of the things that are already on your calendar. You already have some things and how they work into what it is that you want to accomplish, whether it's personally, professionally, spiritually, in your health. You know, if you know that one of your goals is going to be to lose weight, whether it's inches or pounds, or if you're at a decent weight for yourself, what you consider to be decent, but you just want to get toned, you know it's going to involve something, whether it's a health club, whether it's purchasing equipment for your home, whether it's dusting off the equipment from in your home that's already there. Whatever it might be, it's different for everybody. But you can start to incorporate that action plan. And then what's going to happen is, when you start putting together an action plan for quarter 1 now, and then you go through a goal setting process, even if that's in January, and you start to fill in the blanks, now you're off to making 2017 your best year yet. Because let's look at what happens when we don't even think about that. Because I've been there. And if you've been there, this will resonate with you. If you know people that have been in this situation, this will resonate with you. But I know that in all those years of my life when I didn't follow this advice, and I just took the holidays off, I I ate a lot of food, I visited a lot of family, I bought a lot of gifts, I opened a lot of gifts, and then bang, all of a sudden it was January 1st, and I didn't have a plan. I didn't even have a tentative plan in place. I didn't have any action items established. I didn't have plans to attend a goal-setting workshop or a goal-setting process. I hadn't looked at my 2016 to see what would happen, what went well, and to see what I might want to do in 2017, and I hadn't done any of that work. I would just get caught up in the things that came up in January, February, and then in March, my first quarter was gone and I had no plan. By having a plan, or at least a tentative plan, having some things on it that you know are going to happen, meetings that you have, people that you absolutely want to reach out to, courses that you want to sign up for, books that you know you want to read, get them on your tentative action plan in December for next year. And then as you go through your goal setting and planning process in January, you fill in the rest of the blanks. But by having that plan kick-started by the end of this year, you're off and running to make 2017 your best year yet. And then number 4 is to share. Share all of this that you come up with, that you create, that you journal about with an accountability partner. Because look, you know that when you're left to your own devices, you can end up making excuses. I was famous for it. But now I have accountability partners. I have 3 who will say to me, hey, you know what? You said you were going to do this. How's that coming? Hey, you know, you said you were going to tackle that project. Where are you at with that? Hey, you said you were going to take care of this situation. Where are you at with that? If you're not sharing your victories, you're not sharing the areas where you came up short after you do your review, if you're not sharing your goal setting plans or the tentative goals you have, or if you're not sharing your tentative action plan, or after you set your firm action plan, if you're not setting that stuff up and then sharing it with somebody, you're left to your own device to try to make it work. And for some of us, for a lot of us, that doesn't end up working out well, certainly not as well as having an accountability partner. So find somebody to share all of this with. So those are the 4 steps that you can take. Doesn't take a lot of time, couple of hours. Do you have a couple of hours between now and the end of December? The answer is yes. That's a rhetorical question. Nobody say no to that. Okay. Number 1, review your 2016, your victories, where you came up short, what lessons you learned from that. Number 2, start to set some goals. Set a goal to attend a goal-setting workshop or go through a goal-setting process. Even if you do that, you're way ahead, way ahead. Set a first quarter action plan so that you hit the ground running with your life, what you want your life to look like. You want to have the best year yet in 2017, you have to have a plan. Hit the ground running with at least a tentative plan. Maybe you complete the plan in January with your goal setting, workshop, system, process that you go through. Get that started now. Don't wait, because then it doesn't happen for most of us. And then share it, have an accountability partner that will hold you accountable, that will keep you on track and help you get to where you want to be. Why do we want to do that? Why do we want to do these things? Well, because as I said before, number 1, the lessons of 2016 prove invaluable to us. The lessons from any time in our life can prove to be invaluable going forward, and you want to know what those are. You don't want to just blindly be going through the year and at the end of the year go, well, some was good, some was bad, and time to move on. No, you want to be, hey, you know what? This stuff worked, and that stuff worked, and it didn't work over here, and here's why, and here's what I learned from it. And man, I can take these really powerful lessons and make 2017 even better. We've alluded to number 2, the second reason why you want to make sure you're doing these things, and that is 2017 is going to sneak up on you, and we've all had that experience where all of a sudden it's March and April and we have no plans, we have no goals, we've just been cruising along and we have no direction and we're overwhelmed. And the way you avoid those feelings in March and April are by doing these 4 things that we've talked about. The review of your year, starting to set goals, starting to set your action plan, and having an accountability partner. The other reason is because then that preparedness creates the following emotions. And this is so cool. All of this preparedness, getting ready and putting these things into place, gives you incredible levels of passion and excitement. And it gives you joy and peace and it gives you fulfillment, and it makes you more productive. It makes you just a better, well-rounded, ready-to-go person. And how cool is that? To go into 2017 not with dread, not with uncertainty, not being without a clue as to what direction you're going to go, but to have this powerful plan and direction and these goals and somebody to hold you accountable that's going to push you, and have that passion, that excitement, that productivity, that peace, that joy, that fulfillment. How cool is that? So that's why you want to get this done over these next 2-3 weeks before we get to the end of the year. You know, you have one life. You live one life. You owe it to yourself to make it the best. You owe it to yourself to make 2017 the best year yet. And the way that we do that is we review what's happened to us, good and bad, and what we can learn from it, take forward. That's number one. We set powerful goals and powerful action plans in line with our goals. And we have accountability partners to keep pushing us, because we need that. We can't do these things. Life's not meant to be lived alone in a vacuum. And so if you do these things, you owe it to yourself. You have the 3 hours between now and the end of the year. It might mean 1 hour less of television. It might mean 1 hour less of sitting doing nothing. It might mean 1 hour less of video gaming. But you have 3 hours, and you owe that to yourself to do these things. And I'm here to tell you that if you review your 2016, if you start to set goals and you set yourself up with a goal system and a process that is going to take you to the next level, if you share that with somebody, you share your action plan that you create with somebody, then your 2017 is going to be your best year yet. So thank you so much for watching, for listening, for reading. It is such a humble and humble honor, humble blessing, and a thrill to be able to do this. Share this with 5 people you know, who you know every year you have the same conversation with them. They all of a sudden say to you, I can't believe it's March, I can't believe it's April, I've got nothing done, I don't even know what I'm going to do this year. You know 5 people like that. So share this with them and make a difference. Impact them with this information. And until the next time, thank you again. Get out there every single day and discover something new. Learn something every day. Reach for your stars, your dreams, your visions. Reach for them every day. Go for it. And live the life that is so good.